Imagine standing on the bridge of a luxury cruise ship, watching the vast expanse of the Southern Ocean unfold before you, a realm of breathtaking beauty and unforgiving power. Now imagine that world suddenly shattering into your command center, accompanied by a force so violent that it turns an elegant vessel into a scene of desperate survival. This is the extraordinary story of the Silver Explorer in January 2013. A tale of human resilience, maritime disaster, and the awesome power of nature that transformed an Antarctic expedition into one of the most harrowing cruise ship incidents in modern maritime history. What happens when a once-in-a-generation storm encounters one of the world's most luxurious expedition vessels? The answer is a gripping narrative of survival, quick thinking, and the thin line between adventure and catastrophe on the world's most notorious waters. The Silver Explorer is a luxury expedition cruise ship operated by Silver Sea Cruises. The vessel displaces approximately 6,000 gross tons and is specifically designed for polar expeditions. Unlike large commercial cruise liners that cannot access Antarctic waters, the Silver Explorer's compact size and specialized ice-class hull allow it to navigate through challenging Southern Ocean conditions. The ship accommodates approximately 130 passengers and 117 crew members across its various facilities and cabins. The January 2013 voyage was scheduled as a classic Antarctic Peninsula expedition, a highly sought-after maritime route. The exact itinerary began at the southernmost tip of South America, in the port city of Ushuaia, Argentina. From the commercial docks of Tierra del Fuego, the ship was scheduled to navigate eastward through the sheltered and highly scenic waters of the Beagle Channel. Once clearing the protective South American landmass, the Silver Explorer would turn its bow decisively south to cross the Drake Passage, a notorious 600-mile stretch of open ocean where the Atlantic, Pacific, and Southern Oceans physically converge. Upon successfully surviving the standard two-day crossing of this turbulent body of water, the ship's planned route included initial landfalls at the South Shetland Islands. This was to be followed by several days of complex coastal navigation along the western side of the Antarctic Peninsula. Passengers were officially scheduled to explore historically significant geological locations such as Deception Island, the narrow Lemaire Channel, and Paradise Bay via motorized Zodiac inflatable boats. The operational plan was to conduct extensive shore landings to observe penguin colonies and glacial formations before turning the vessel around for the return crossing to Ushuaia. The expedition officially departed Ushuaia in early January 2013, carrying 133 passengers on board, all having completed the mandatory safety musters and emergency briefings. As the Silver Explorer exited the Beagle Channel and entered the open waters of the Drake Passage, weather conditions began to deteriorate exactly as the maritime meteorological forecasts had predicted. The Drake Passage is oceanographically infamous for its distinct lack of landmasses. Without continents to act as a physical friction barrier and break the wind, the Antarctic circumpolar current drives massive, unobstructed, low-pressure storm systems continuously around the globe from west to east. By January 11th, the ship found itself navigating directly through a severe, large-scale weather system. Sustained gale-force winds whipped the ocean surface, and the sea state grew increasingly violent. Ocean swells reached measured heights of nearly 30 feet, creating deep troughs and steep, threatening crests. For a 1A ice-class vessel, these specific conditions, while inducing severe seasickness and requiring passengers to remain safely inside their cabins, were strictly within standard operational design parameters. The ship pitched and rolled heavily, but its structural integrity and mechanical propulsion remained fully intact. The captain and the navigational officers maintained a vigilant, continuous watch on the bridge, relying on the ship's advanced radar arrays and active stabilization systems to chart the safest possible course through the turbulent seas. The critical, defining turning point of the voyage occurred on January 12th. Without any preliminary warning from the marine radar or visual lookouts, the ocean dynamics shifted instantaneously from a severe, predictable storm to a localized, catastrophic anomaly. As the Silver Explorer navigated the heavy swells, a rogue wave materialized directly in the ship's immediate path. In physical oceanography, rogue waves are abnormally large, unpredictable surface waves that can be more than twice the significant wave height of the surrounding sea state. They occur when multiple wave energies and ocean currents combine constructively to form a single, disproportionately massive wall of water, characterized by a steep, nearly vertical forward face. Because these specific waves form spontaneously and move incredibly fast, there was absolutely no time for the bridge crew to alter the ship's course, change engine revolutions, or issue a general emergency alarm. The wave slammed directly into the forward superstructure of the vessel. While the heavily reinforced steel hull easily absorbed the primary kinetic impact without buckling, the sheer height and immense volume of the water sent the wave riding aggressively up the ship's bow, striking the highest forward point of the superstructure, the navigation bridge. The forward-facing bridge windows of the Silver Explorer were constructed from highly specialized, thick laminated marine glass, engineered and extensively tested to withstand extreme winds and atmospheric pressure. However, the massive physical force and weight of the seawater impact critically exceeded the structural load limits of the starboard side bridge window. The glass failed and shattered inward. In an instant, freezing seawater flooded directly into the central command center of the ship. The immediate physical toll was significant. 4 crew members who were actively on duty on the bridge were struck directly by the incoming water and broken glass. They sustained physical injuries, including lacerations and blunt force trauma, being knocked across the metal deck by the power of the ocean's breach. The sudden inrush of seawater triggered a cascading technical failure. Modern ships are equipped with highly sensitive computerized navigation, communication, and automated systems. When salt water cascaded onto the ship's center console, the electrical systems short-circuited instantly. Critical infrastructure, including major radar screens, electronic chart display and information systems, internal communications, and vital dynamic positioning panels, sparked and went completely dark. Trapped in the middle of a severe storm in one of the most isolated marine regions on the planet, the Northern Explorer lost all digital navigation capabilities, leaving its command center severely crippled. The immediate aftermath on the bridge was undeniably chaotic, but the crew's rigorous emergency training took absolute priority. The officer's primary objective was to maintain physical control of the vessel. If the ship lost steering and turned broadside to the 30-foot waves, it would face an immediate risk of capsizing. The officers swiftly engaged the manual, mechanical backup systems, positioning the bow at the correct angle to the oncoming swells to safely withstand the impacts. Simultaneously, the ship's medical team was dispatched from the sickbay to assess, treat, and stabilize the 4 injured crew members. Below, on the passenger decks, guests felt the sharp jolt of the impact and noticed a jarring change in the ship's motion and engine noise, sparking widespread fear and confusion until the crew could restore emergency communications. Meanwhile, the engineering department rapidly mobilized to physically seal the breached bridge. Working in highly dangerous conditions against freezing winds and ongoing violent sea spray entering the room, the crew utilized metal screens, steel braces, and emergency storm shutters to physically board up the shattered window. This rapid, decisive damage control was absolutely essential to prevent any further water ingress and to protect the remaining functional, localized electronics from additional saltwater exposure and complete unrecoverable failure. Once the vessel was structurally stabilized, the immediate flooding was halted and manual helm control was firmly secured. The captain assessed the totality of the tactical situation. The planned expedition to Antarctica was immediately and officially aborted. The ship was structurally compromised, lacked the fully redundant computerized navigational equipment legally and practically necessary for polar waters, and carried crew members whose specific injuries required advanced shoreside medical facilities completely unavailable on board. The Silver Explorer slowly and carefully came about, actively altering its heading to navigate cautiously back towards South America. Because the primary navigation computers were severely damaged, the crew had to rely heavily on fundamental auxiliary systems, physical magnetic compasses, standard radio direction finding, and intensive manual visual watches to guide the ship safely through the remaining miles of the Drake Passage. The return journey was tense, highly uncomfortable, and incredibly slow. The captain reduced engine speed significantly to completely minimize any further hydrodynamic stress on the damaged forward superstructure. Passengers remained strictly confined to the interior of the ship for their own safety. 3 days later, the battered Silver Explorer arrived safely back in the port of Ushuaia. Emergency medical teams and shoreside ambulances were waiting on the commercial docks. The 4 injured crew members were immediately evacuated and safely transported to local hospitals for advanced medical treatment. All were officially reported to be in stable condition and eventually made full recoveries. The 133 shaken passengers safely disembarked, receiving full financial refunds for the voyage, but leaving without having seen the Antarctic Peninsula. Due to the extensive, critical damage to the bridge's electronic infrastructure and the necessary custom replacement of the specialized marine glass, Silversea Cruises was forced to completely cancel the subsequent scheduled voyage. The January 2013 incident of the MS Silver Explorer stands today as a definitive, factual case study in modern polar navigation and applied maritime engineering. It practically highlights the absolute physical necessity of rigorous ice-class structural engineering, without which the rogue wave's damage could have easily extended far beyond a shattered window to compromise the hull itself. Furthermore, it underscores the critical, undeniable importance of highly trained, professional crews capable of rapidly securing a damaged vessel and operating it manually when modern, computerized technology catastrophically fails. Above all, the event remains a factual, sobering testament to the unpredictable, untamed, and overwhelming power of the Drake Passage.